Welcome back, everyone, to the FPL Sheeple podcast, a podcast that gathers all the FPL content under one roof and makes it available to you direct. I'm your host, Carling FIFA, and we come to you after Gameweek 2, where it was hammer time by Antonio and Benrahma, providing a high scoring bonanza all around. I'm joined by my co host, FPL Donatello, and apart from the very odd Antonio celebration, what else did you enjoy about the game week, Donatello?
Hey, yeah, the game week was amazing. Yet another high-scoring game week. I think both of us got like exactly same number of points, so was really happy with that. I didn't expect it to be another high-scoring one.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm happy with it. Some of the results were as expected. Um, all in all, like a good weekend of football and fantasy Premier League. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, me too. And it was especially the last game where everything just picked up. Otherwise, it was
Yep.
looking. I mean, even in the West Ham game, the last 10 minutes was where all the action came up. Otherwise, Benrahma was had scored quite a few points. Antonio hadn't done much, and so things were very different at that point. And then suddenly, Antonio came alive and scored his goals, and then suddenly we were all
Yeah,
celebrating.
exactly. We were happy with the Benrahma points since we got him last week in our
Yeah,
teams.
yeah,
But then Antonio just added the cherry on the top. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it
so
was amazing.
yeah, so then let's get into this week's pod. So
Absolutely.
yeah, go on.
No, I was just saying absolutely. You go on.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, no. So we have our typical agenda for this episode. We'll review Game Week 2, take a look at what the template team look like, and how, if we are deviating away from the template yet, or are we still remaining close to it. Then we do the creator team review for Game Week 2. We take a look at how well all our 20 content creators did in terms of points, and how well we did compared to them as well. Then we go to the creator of the week for Game Week 3. Take a look at their picks, and then finally we do a game week preview where we've made changes based on the suggestions, and we'll see how it goes. So before we dive into the the content of the pod, we would like to remind all our listeners that we have an FPL Sheeple Mini-league where you can join this league using the code YVVW2K. That's YVVW2K. So yeah, feel free to join the league. It's still open. You can all your points from beginning from game week 1 will be counted. So feel free to join that. We are already 12 people there, and it'll be a lot of fun. And then we can from time to time take a look at where the league is at and how people are doing. All right, so then let's start off with the review for Game Week 2. So we what we normally do every week is after after the deadline is done for a game week, we take a look at what the template team is, and this template team is made from the teams of all the 20 content creators we follow, and we take a look at the most popular 11 players that these players the content creators have picked. And so now we have this template team in front of us on the screen. And so essentially it contains goalkeeper Sanchez from Brighton, who's there in 19 teams. Then we have Simicas, who's in 16 teams. Alexander Arnold is in all 20 teams. Shaw is in 19 teams. Then we have Salah, who's in 20 teams, and he was also the most popular captain choice. We have Bruno, who was also in all 20 teams, and then we have two sort of midfielders who are not in many teams, but they are the most common ones. So Benrahma was in only 8 teams out of the 20 content creators. So that shows you that Benrahma was sort of a differential for all these 8 players compared to the others. And Greenwood, who's in 9 teams, also another pick that's not really common throughout all the creators we follow. And the strike force is more or less the same. So you have Ivan Tony, who's in 16 teams, Ings, who's in 15 teams, and Antonio, who's in 18 teams. So that sort of is very template. And we also have indicated here of how many of these players we have from this
Yeah,
template team, and we have 10 out of 11.
yeah, we have pretty much the same team with one player, which is different.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's pretty much the template that we've been following from game week one.
yeah,
And as you rightly pointed out, Benrahma and Greenwood are the two differentials in this template arrangement. So we have Benrahma, we don't have Greenwood yet, but yeah, it's like this is what we are following from game week one, and we are reaping the benefits.
yeah. That's right. And actually, if you take a look at this template team, and if you had all these 11 players, I would say even that is an amazing team. I think that will also be one of the highest scoring teams for this week, because Greenwood also managed to bag another goal. So it seems that the template to start off is I mean, the template is strong, but it is also reaping dividends. So it's probably wise to stay within these limits and have like only one or two differences to this template for now. Of course, with time, this is going to change, and we'll see how that goes over the course of the season.
I think a bit today's team for me is a little different from the template, so
Yeah,
it's going to be
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and we'll take a look at that later in the next sections. Right.
Yeah.
So then, coming to how we did for this game week, it's your team first up.
Yeah, I got 85 points, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect to get like 85 points in this game, like especially after when Salah blanked, and
Yeah,
Fernandez blanked too. So I was expecting somewhere around 60-ish points. But then, as we talked about, Benzema and Antonio changed the whole thing.
yeah,
Together they have like 38 points. Sorry, 28 points together. So that changed the landscape. So, yeah, I think the only two key players to point out here, apart from Antonio and Benrahma, are the Liverpool defense
yeah.
who got an assist each and bonus points. Alexander Arnold and Shimikas. And then pretty much the same thing. Rafinha scored. That
Hmm.
was great. He finally got a goal back. So 7 points to him. And Dannings with that world class finish
Yeah.
for that 8 pointer. And I also have 13 points on the bench actually. So I had Sufal and Bisuma on the bench who got like 5 points and 8 points each. So
Yeah.
all in all, 85 points. My overall rank has moved up to
Mm-hmm.
182,949, which is like a big jump from 700K.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm overall points 180. So I'm completely satisfied with this game week. Over to you.
Yeah. And I'm just 1 point behind you in terms of the overall points, but I got one more point than you this week. And so we were pretty close, and as you expect from, because our teams are so close. I mean, 10 out of 11 players same. The only difference between us is that you have Rafinha, and I have Grealish. And so
Yeah,
Rafinha got
who
7
got a point
points.
more?
Exactly. And Grealish got that one extra point, which gave me 86 points. So yeah, again, I was absolutely delighted by this score. And yeah, that also got me. So I was, I think, 2 points behind you last week, and now I'm just 1 point behind you because of this game week. And my overall rank is 201K, which is really great, and it's been an
So
amazing
even
start.
though you're just 1 point behind me, you're 19,000 behind me in rank. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. It's crazy. I mean, so many players bunched up together on the same points tally.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unbelievable. And yeah, that's because the template is so strong. We know that most players are going to get so many points. So yeah, um, overall really happy. with the first two game weeks. Certainly, things are looking really bright for us for now, and let's see how it goes in the next game weeks.
Yeah, for now is the key because now like everyone probably knows the landscape of English Premier League is changing with all the new players coming in.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's going to be a headache going forwards, but for now we are enjoying. So
yeah.
yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, we'll talk about what the content creators are thinking about in terms of all
Yeah.
these big hitters who are going to come in. And yeah, it'll be really interesting in the next game weeks. All right. So
Yeah.
then,
So
yeah, sorry.
no, I was saying like we have the content creator of the week.
Yeah, so yeah, we are now doing the creator team review for Game Week 2, and we have the winner or the creator of the week this week is Joshua Landon. He got 86 points too, so you can say that it's a joint winner this week with my team and Joshua Landon's team both got 86 points, and yeah, for him he has the exact same team
Well, he
as me.
only has Greenwood in
Yeah,
for instead of
for Jack Grealish. Yeah,
for Jack Grealish.
yeah,
Okay.
and so and Greenwood got more points than Jack Grealish, but Joshua Landon had gone for Fernandes captain as a
Hmm.
differential, and Fernandes just got the 1 point. So that's where
Yep.
we both ended up getting the same number of points. So so congrats to Joshua Landon for being the creator of the week, and now we can move on to take a look at how all the other content creators did. So, in front of me or in front of us, we have the Excel sheet that we show every game week where we summarize the game week points for all the 20 content creators, and the both of us are also now
Hmm.
included here. And we have a bunch of things in this table where we show the total points of these content creators, their overall rank, um, who their captain was, and then we have the most interesting part, according to us at least, are the player picks from all these 20 different content creators, and they have been arranged in the order of their sort of frequency. So the most common players are at the beginning towards the left of the table, and as we move to the right of the table, we go to the more rarer or the more differential picks. So, I mean, we've spoken about the template team right at the beginning of the pod, so that was pretty clear. But apart from that, just outside the template, we had players such as Rafinha, Barnes, Grealish, and one thing that I noticed is that the players who got the top points this week had a bunch of combinations in order to get the high points. So it wasn't a standout that it wasn't like everyone had Benrahma and Antonio, for example. So, for example,
Hmm.
Zofer and Fergie from Fantasy Football Hub, both of them did not have Benrahma. Instead, they have Greenwood and Rafinha. And so,
Yep.
Greenwood and Rafinha together make up like 17 points. And then there were people who topped, like, for example, in my team or in the case of Josh's team, I only have Benrahma and I have Grealish. So, that's again, that's the difference, and that combination still gives almost the same points. And Josh had Benrahma and Greenwood. So it's like
Yeah.
right now there are these combination of players that most of these people have, which are setting all of them apart by a couple of points here and there. And and so therefore, I mean, if you can see, the difference is not that much. I mean, the 9 players are within like 5 points of each other, and then there are
Hmm.
some differences where I think people stop having players such as Antonio or Benrama towards the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I found interesting for this week. Anything interesting standing out for you?
Yeah. So I think we can say the template is strong with this game week, especially because if you can see, it's like till Rafinha, I don't
Yeah,
see beyond Rafinha, I don't see any differentials that any of the content creators had and help them get those points. It was purely out of those 11, 12 players that got them the maximum amount of
Yeah.
points. And it was interesting because there were some big hitters in this game week, especially the Brighton defense. Shane Duffy got like 14 points. Tyrone Mings got like 15 points.
Yeah.
Even the City defenders had 11 points
Yeah.
each because they assisted and scored goals. But none of the content creators that we are following had them in their team. So it's like just purely out of those 12 players that we've gotten this top score of 86, and everyone is just, as you said, is just like 1 or 2 points behind each other. So yeah, the template was strong this weekend, I guess.
Yeah. And I think last season we had seen that, especially, I mean, towards the end of the season, when we had our first episodes, usually the teams on top had these differential, rarer picks that had a high amount of points. But looks like the most amount of points are appearing, as you said, for all the template players. So yeah, very
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
and something we talked about just a few minutes ago. This is probably going to change because of all the players that are now coming in FPL. Like Lukaku is a new addition.
Yeah.
We are hearing rumors that Cristiano Ronaldo might join Man City, so that's going to be a big headache as well. So
Yeah.
going forward, I guess from game week 3 or game week 4 onwards, depending on the fixtures, it's going to be interesting how all these content creators try to fit in the big hitters, who they take out from the team and who they fit
Yeah.
into the team. Like if Lukaku is performing day in and day out, and if he's like a must have, or if even not the players that are in the league, like Son and Kane, we
Yeah.
haven't even talked about them yet. Like
Yeah.
Son has been silent. Kane was, he's back now. He's staying at Tottenham. So how to fit these players in your team along with Fernandez, Salah, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's going to be interesting, I guess, and it's going to be we're going to be watching out for what the changes these content creators will be doing.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it'll be super interesting. And at that point, I think then we will have a much wider pool and a uh, more
Yeah.
interesting patterns to look for in this
Yeah,
particular.
and I think it happens. I think I've observed this, that it happens that uh, the template starts to break, and then you get these 1 or 2 differentials, or like more than 1 or 2 actually, and then eventually it all boils down to when everyone green cards, and
Yeah.
then I guess there is a template back starting from the green. Sorry, not the green card, wild
Yeah.
card. I'm sorry. So
Well, I would just like to point out to the
but I
listeners
hope
that
that.
Donatello is in the US, so green card is something that comes really naturally to him instead of a wild card.
Green
But
card
anyway,
is a rare commodity in the United States, so I think
yeah,
obviously that was on my mind. So
yeah,
apologies for that, but yeah, I was talking
no
about
worries.
wild card in Fantasy Premier League.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting when everyone decides to wild card.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, and the international break is something that these content creators talk about as a point that people usually wildcard. And if all these huge transfers happen, then you never know. We'll see a few wildcards in the next game week or so.
Yeah, and then also I forgot to point out Reece James. I think he was the highest scorer of the weekend, 18 points. So
Oh
none of
yeah,
the content creators have in the team. So yeah,
yeah,
one more to go.
yeah. So we'll see what we did about that. All right. So then, yeah, coming back to our game week 3 creator of the week, and it was, as I already pointed out, that it was Josh Landon. So I'll introduce Josh Landon to for everyone. All right. So, Joshua Landon, you can follow him on Twitter at Josh Landon or at his at the handle Hail Cheaters. So he's from the he's a co-host of the Always Cheating podcast. Pretty cool podcast. They discuss quite a bit at length about different aspects, including stats, and they analyze every game and look out for which players are doing well, etc.
Mm.
This week they had a really interesting episode where they took a look at 10 things that uh, they are thinking, but sort of about how the game is going on, which are the players to look out for, and what are the sort of changes. So it was sort of a more, it was a podcast that was about long-term strategy and thinking about how to move forward in the next few game weeks. So it was pretty interesting to hear that this week. Joshua, with his great scores in Game Week 1 and Game Week 2, sits currently at rank of 80,000. His best rank throughout his history of, this is his 11th season. So in the last 10 seasons, his best rank has been 1,224. He's reached the top 5K 4 times, including last season where he finished within the top 5K, and he has been in the top 100K 3 times. So again, really consistent. Within the 10 seasons, he's had an amazing 7 or 8 seasons. So yeah, so it's really nice, always nice listening to their podcast and what they have to say every week. So
Yep.
yeah, so this week, as I said, they did a 10 things that they are thinking about, sort of an episode, and in that they didn't have any clear sort of transfer suggestions. On Twitter, they did express a few things as well. So, for example, they've suggested, or Joshua has suggested, to go for Vladimir Sufal because he feels
Mm.
with the problems that uh, you know, uh, with Ben White, with Weltman being injured. I mean, both of them have been affected by COVID, and in order to get rid of, I mean, and many teams have them. So in order to uh, have a good replacement for them, he suggested Vladimir Sufal, and West Ham being in such amazing form, it's
Yeah.
sort of a no-brainer according to him. Then in their episode, they also discussed that somehow people should now start to think about getting the Chelsea defense because it looks really
Mm.
immaculate, and even though they have really tough fixtures, you can always back a Chelsea defense to keep a clean sheet against the top teams as well. So there shouldn't be stopping people to go for a Chelsea defense. I mean, as Donatello just said, Reece James was the top scoring defender in this game week. I mean, it was a relatively simpler game for them against Arsenal, but I mean, i- obviously, because it's Liverpool and City in the next few game weeks, I'm just saying that Arsenal was relatively simpler.
Mm.
And so, yeah, Chelsea defense is something Joshua reckons people should go for, and people should also think about selling the Man United defense because, I mean, by Man United defense, he's mainly talking about Shaw because that's the only player uh, who's in everyone's team, and seems like United aren't doing so well defensively, and Shaw isn't as uh, creative as he had been in the last season or so. So yeah, he's suggesting that people can sell the United defense assets.
Mm.
Then they had a quite a bit of thinking about Lukaku and how to get him in, but obviously that requires a lot of changes, and so then there was quite a bit of talk about wildcarding in game week 4 or wait for the fixtures for Chelsea to improve and then wildcard, etc. Because it's clear that getting to Lukaku without a wildcard is going to take quite a few of hits. So yeah, so it's sort of a Lukaku is great to have now if you can afford him, but otherwise you'll have to wait and see how you can get him in. And Grealish was another player who Joshua thought was a good pick because he seems to be really nailed on in the City lineup. So and he seems to be at least got his goal. And so if
Mm.
City create the vast amount of chances that they normally do, Grealish should be there and thereabouts for points. And finally, he
Yeah.
had a good suggestion with because Ivan Tony is not doing so well. He had a replacement suggestion for him, which was Adam Armstrong from Southampton. Seems to be playing well. Missed a real golden chance against United, but he's always been
I
getting
I
good
think he
chances.
missed it. He missed two sitters against United. He could have
Ah,
scored two
yeah,
goals against.
ex- exactly.
Yeah.
So looks like he's just uh, a bit of luck away from scoring some points. So yeah, he seems to be a good replacement. So yeah, so given
Mm.
these different suggestions, we made some changes in our teams, and so let's reveal that. Starting with my team, and yeah, so for me, actually,
It was the
the
obvious
problem,
one.
yeah, I made the obvious one, but it was a problem. I wanted to take out Weltman. I had point
Mm.
0.5 in the bank, so I wanted to take out Weltman to get in Sufal, but Weltman dropped in price um, last night or the night before, and so obviously I didn't have enough cash to get Sufal, who's at 5 million.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer. But instead, what I did was, because Joshua was sort of bullish on Sufal, and I agree that
Mm.
because West Ham is in such great form and they have amazing fixtures, I replaced Luke Ayling and put Sufal instead of him. So even though Ayling has decent fixtures, I feel Leeds are still in that conceding mode, and until Diego
Mm.
Lorente comes back, I don't think they are going to be as good as they were towards the end of last season. So I brought in Sufal, makes sense to me, and the rest of my team remains the same. So it's just for the benefit of the listeners. It's Sanchez in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luke Shaw, and Sufal. Then in midfield, I have Salah, Benrahma, Fernandes, and Grealish. And my strike force is Ings, Tony, and Antonio. And my captain armband currently is on Antonio, with Fernandes vice captain. And yeah,
Mm.
and Simicas is on the bench because now I think Robertson is back, and so Simicas won't be playing most likely, and so he's back on the bench for me. So yeah, so that's my
Yeah.
team. And then I'm moving on to your team.
Yeah. I already had Sufal, so I didn't have to make that
Yeah.
change. Actually, as we were discussing before the pod, I was like, I actually had all the players that were needed for this game week. And I didn't want to make any changes, but I thought, like, for the benefit of the podcast and the format that we have, I still went ahead and made one change, which was I took out Shimikas finally.
Hmm.
I as I think Robertson is back; his days are numbered in FPL, so I took him out, and I got in Reece James, as per the suggestion of our of Josh, because he
Yeah.
wants us to bolster up on Chelsea defense soon.
Yeah.
And even though it's Liverpool away, I mean, even if he gets a clean sheet, that's more than enough for me this game week.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I got in Reece James, and I have benched Ivan Tony,
Hmm.
because I just didn't want to bench either of the four defenders that I have.
Yeah.
So for my team is pretty much the same as yours, except I have Reece James in for Ivan Tony. And then I also have the same captain, Mikel
Yeah.
Antonio, and Fernandez vice captain. So I have 4-4-2 in formation to your 3-4-3.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we pretty much have the same team except one player again. I think now it's two players
Two
because I
players.
have
Yeah.
Rafinha and you have Grealish. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah. So we have two different players. Yeah, one change for this game week. Same captain. So yeah, excited, hoping for another big West Ham victory.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I mean, for you, since you had the luxury of having money in the bank, you were able to make that really nice upgrade from Shimikas to James, which is like a 1.5 jump. And so, yeah, I
Yeah,
think your team is in a really great position for even for the medium to long term. As in, till the time you wildcard, whenever that is, I mean, it doesn't look like this team needs a wild card in the next week or so, right? So I mean, it seems to be really good. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
really interesting.
and same with you. You also
Yeah,
have the same team. I mean, just a couple of players here and there. So
yeah,
I'm sure it will be fine for both of us until we wildcard.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, looks good. And for us, I think, I mean, at least for me, I can speak about that. Is that, I mean, the big hitters like Kane, Son, Lukaku. I think I'm not yet in the mode of going all out and trying to get them. Kane and Son, even though they have good fixtures, I want to see how they perform a couple of weeks, and then get them in. It's not going to be a big problem because a lot of players are scoring big points, so it's not really imperative that we get them in so soon. So let's see how they
So,
do.
so Kane started today for the Conference League against Pacos de Ferreira, and he scored 2 goals. So
Ah,
that means that Son is pretty much nailed for the next game week. He didn't play, I guess, today,
yeah,
and I don't know if Kane's going to start again. But as we said, we have to wait and watch and see how these players do because. I mean, I've been noticing all the hype around Lukaku. He's just played one game week and he scored just 1 goal. It's not as if he scored 2 goals or a hat trick or assisted. I mean, yeah, there is a lot of hype
yeah,
for these big players. So you have to play the patient game, I guess,
yeah,
because you take hits in order to get these players in, but these players don't give you returns then, and then you take -4, -8, and you're in loss there. So it's just
yeah.
a patient game that we have to play out, and eventually when these players do start performing, we'll figure out a way to get them in.
Yeah, so and we have a few content creators as an example who we can look at next week. For example, I know for a fact that Mark Suddens from FPL Black Box has made a few changes and he has got in Lukaku. So
Oh, nice.
he's gone. He had, I think, Mahrez and Gundogan, with who he happily sold both of them, and I think he also went for a hit and got in Lukaku. So we are
Hmm.
going to see teams so next week, and I think even Tom Freeman, who's one of the creators who we follow, he has Son in his team as well, I think. So
Hmm.
next week we will have these teams who we can take a look at and see how well they did, and then we have an idea of what to do. I mean, in next week's
Yep.
Excel sheet, we can take a look at these players, especially in how they're doing, uh, and then we can make a call of how we can proceed further. So yeah, so it'll be really interesting these next couple of weeks. All right, so then moving on to the fixtures for uh, this game week, that is game week 3. And as usual, we've gone for our predictions, and we seem to agree on many, if not most of them, and we'll talk about some of the important differences. The
The
first,
notable fixtures.
yeah, the notable fixtures where there are differences. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise everything is same. We think Man City is going to really trounce Arsenal. We both think it's going to be a 3-0 victory.
uh, I would like to be proven wrong, please,
Yeah,
Arsenal.
yeah,
But realistically, I think City is now back to full squad, so
yeah,
I don't have any hopes against City teams. So yeah,
yeah,
3-0 is what I'm going for.
yeah. Aston Villa Brentford. I've gone for a 1-all draw, and you've gone for an Aston Villa victory with
Yeah, I think
2-1.
Aston Villa is a bit too strong for Brentford, so I'm feeling that they will win this one.
Yeah. Uh, we have the same score for Brighton Everton, where Brighton will win 2-1 according to us. Newcastle Southampton, we feel it's going to be a 1-all draw. Norwich Leicester, I am thinking Leicester, uh, being so poor against West Ham, are suddenly going to be good against Norwich and win 3-0. You think they're going to win narrowly 2-1, but yeah, I feel it's going to.
I think I think it's about time Norwich scores a goal. I mean, they
Yeah,
do have quality players,
yeah,
so I think they should score a goal this time out.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
with
otherwise it's just another punching bag for all the EPL teams. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, with Leicester's defense, which is not completely full strength yet, so it's possible. Yeah, yeah, we've gone for a 3-0 victory for West Ham because we have all these three players from West Ham. We want it to be a
Antonio,
clean sheet.
Sufal, Benrahma, 1 goal each,
Yeah.
and bonus
Whoa.
points.
Unbelievable. That'll be some ideal situation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, we'll see what happens. Then we have the big game, Liverpool versus Chelsea. I've obviously gone for Chelsea victory 2-1 because I feel they're ridiculously strong in attack and defense. So yeah, I think they'll win. They'll do something. But you think that Liverpool, maybe because of home advantage, I guess, are going to win 2-1. So why is
yeah,
that?
I would say last season with this Chelsea team, I would have gone for Chelsea win any day, with
Yeah.
given Liverpool's form and all the injury. But I think now they have the defense back and their midfield back. So and plus they're home. So I'm sticking with Liverpool. I feel like it's gonna be interesting to see the Lukaku versus Van Dijk battle.
Hmm.
Uh, but I think Liverpool is going to win this home.
All right. Sounds good. Then we have Burnley Leeds. Both of us have gone for a Leeds victory. 2-0, same scoreline. Spurs and Watford. This is interesting. I've gone for a 2-0 victory for Spurs, but you are claiming that it's going to be a 2-all draw. So that'll be a nice
Yeah,
match.
it's purely out of spite. So yeah, don't pay attention to
All
that.
right. All right. So yeah, but yeah, yeah. I mean, Watford, you never know. They could score two against Spurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and finally we have Wolves versus Man United. I've gone for a 2-1 victory for Man United. Again, I feel they'll go down by 1-0 and then come back. But you've gone for a 2-0 Man United victory, probably because you think Varane is going to transform that.
That too, and purely just based on United's away form, they haven't lost. I guess they have matched Arsenal's most uh, you know wins or
Unbeaten.
like
Yeah.
unbeaten streak away.
Yeah.
So purely based on that, I think they do good. And Wolves just can't finish their chances.
Yeah.
So I mean, against Tottenham, they were running riot and they could have scored easily 3 to 4 goals, but they like lost 1-0, which was shocking.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will have the same intensity against United now that Varane might start. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm going for a 2-0 win for United.
So that'll be interesting, and we'll see how it goes. Well, yeah, then I guess that's it for us for this game week. Uh, it'll be an interesting one. We've gone big on West Ham once again, and yeah, let's see how it goes for all of us, and we'll take a look at how we did next time
Yeah,
around. Uh,
just want to add on top of all the discussion that we had, it's going to be a very key game weekend for from a lot of players perspective, like the players we talked about. So the next one especially is going to be interesting, the next one that we record, and the changes that we do, there's
yeah,
going to be interesting because I think a lot of things are going to change this game week and the week after. So
yeah,
it'll
exactly.
be a fun one to watch.
Yeah. All right, then. So then, thanks everyone for listening. Please like, comment, and also give your opinions wherever you can. If you like the podcast, spread the word to your friends. You can follow us on Twitter at FPL Sheeple, where we keep posting content every game week, every deadline at the end of the game week as well. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can take a look at the video version of this podcast, which has all these interesting visuals that we show every week. And of course, you can
And
listen
you
to
can
us.
see our handsome faces as well, so you
Yeah,
can
yeah, for sure.
watch the YouTube video, and don't forget to join our
Hmm?
FPL league. It's FPL Sheeple League, and the code is YVVW2K, and we're gonna stick that everywhere along with this content. So join the league, that we'll see who which is the biggest sheeple of us all.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, so yeah, then that's it from me. And yeah, it's a goodbye from me for everyone and good luck.
Good luck.